Hey, Dan here, your resident ENFP, and I'm here with a friend of mine, Matt Estefan, who's staying with me in Prague for the last few weeks, actually heading back to Canada tomorrow. And Matt is an ENTP, and as some of you know, that means we share the same primary function of extroverted intuition, and so sometimes have the same, say, troubles of getting distracted, of being drawn to novelty, this sort of thing. And so I asked Matt to do this video with me because he is a very productive guy, a bit of a productivity junkie like myself. And so he's going to share some productivity tips from an ENTP for fellow ENTPs and us ENFPs. Take it away, Matt.
All right. So the first thing, and I know Dan thought this was weird as we were saying together, but one of the biggest things that keeps me productive is what I eat. And I discovered a long time ago that when you go to a grocery store, there's really only maybe like 5% of the stuff in a grocery store that's actually good for you to eat, specifically while you're working. While you're working, if you start having greasy food, KFC, fries, a really heavy meal, you're going to feel tired after. So what I try to do is keep my meals between 300 to maybe 400 calories or so. So the easiest way for me to figure this out was to eat the same thing every day. And there's sometimes slight variations on this, but for the most part, I eat the same thing throughout the day while I'm working. My dinners tend to often be a little bit more different, but for breakfast, I have eggs with some pre-cooked ground beef.
Every single day we have eggs and ground beef.
Okay, sometimes I make it ground chicken, whatever.
It's always ground
beef. If I want to reduce my meat, I'll use yams and put yams with some eggs, and I eat that with pita bread or what do you call that?
Tortillas.
A tortilla wrap or whatever, so I'm not going crazy on the carbs. That's often breakfast. But actually, to back up, I actually recently just changed this. So now I actually have a shake in the morning. You don't know this. I have a Vitamix, so I have a shake in the morning. Then I have coffee, and then I have my breakfast, my eggs and ground beef, closer to like 2 or 3 o'clock.
Okay.
So that's my actual, but whatever works for you, like it's besides the point. The point is that every single day I have the same diet while I'm working. Once it comes to dinner time, I'm done working. I mean, I don't give a fuck. I'll just eat whatever. Like, you know, try to stay healthy. Eat healthy. You should eat healthy, but whatever. And on the weekends as well, if I'm not working, that's when I'll just like, you know, like today we just ate some deer or something. Like, I don't usually eat that, but I don't mind. So eating the same thing every day will help you increase your productivity, but you gotta find out what foods keep your mental energy. So once you figure that out, just eat for productivity and focus. Don't worry about the taste. Don't worry about variety. Just eat so that way you can get a lot of shit done.
I would agree within reason. Some of you guys know I do the Keto Diet with more or less cheating depending on the time of year and my travels and stuff. But I found that the diet keeps things a little simpler. I don't know if we haven't talked about this on this trip, but I talk about in videos quite a bit about decision making, basically burning your brain out, overthinking things, right?
Yeah.
Where do I eat today? I can make a decision on where I want to travel easier than where I'm going to eat lunch. Like I waste so much mental energy on this stuff. So yeah. It's very good advice.
And both of us as well down a whole bunch of supplements. I have no idea what you were taking.
Yeah.
You know.
There's a lot of pills in the morning that's not ecstasy. Yeah. Sometimes it's ecstasy, but usually not.
So I have my vitamin D, my B12, fish oils, ginseng. I don't even know what the other stuff is actually.
It's a lot of the same I do.
Yeah. So just go and find like the standard supplements. I
actually have a video on this. No one watches it because I'm not a supplement channel, but I will link to my video on vitamins.
Yeah, or ask people who are like more experts on health than us, because this might not be the most healthiest advice. This is a video on productivity and not health.
So if you've caught the other videos I've been doing with Matt, you may have noticed that I've had a green shirt on for some, and now this shirt. But Matt, same shirt the whole time. And that leads us to productivity tip number 2.
Wear the same thing every day. So working days, and actually now my wardrobe is like literally all like polo black shirts. All my clothes are dry fit. And I found these jeans at this like Japanese clothing store that are actually sweatpants. They look like jeans, but they're sweatpants. And I have these really comfortable dress shoes. And I wear the same outfit. I mean, they're different clothes, so I'm wearing the actual.
He smells fine.
I smell, yeah, the clothes are actually different, but they all look the same. And then people often comment, I'm like, why do you always wear the same thing? I'm like, I'm just like, do I look good? I don't know. So I do have other clothes. Like I have suits if I'm like going, like I gotta dress up, I'm speaking, I have suits. On the weekends, sometimes I'll wear a hoodie and a t-shirt or whatever. But while I'm working, Monday to Friday, I've always got the same thing. I don't even think about it. All my clothes are just black collared, dry fit shirts. I have my sweatpant jeans and my nice comfortable dress shoes, and that's it. Note, many billionaires, I'm sure you've heard, do the same. Steve Jobs did the turtleneck thing. Mark Zuck does the hoodie thing.
He's kind of an awkward guy though. But we'll give it to him.
Whatever,
Yeah.
Billionaires. And Bill Gates was known to do this as well. Although I have noticed that in interviews, he's often changing his clothes these days. But Trump is always wearing the same thing as well, right? Like a suit with a tie.
Yeah, and my audience, 100% Trump fans for sure.
Yeah.
Biggest, highly conservative group.
All presidents are always wearing the same thing. It's a suit and a tie. I mean, it's obviously there's something to it.
As we film this, in a few days, I'll be leaving on a 3-week trip, scouting locations in Europe for a future kind of spring, wintertime event. So I'm looking for basically places that are hot. I'm going to, we don't have to get into details, but 8 different cities in about 20 days. So for this trip, I've actually ordered like 8 black t-shirts.
Oh yeah, that's
and
there you go.
At home, I have a bit more variety, but I'm like, I'm going to be traveling so much, I don't want to think about what's clean, what isn't. I want 8 black t-shirts. Same thing every day, makes packing way easier. The next tip Matt wants to share, I cannot claim I do well. My wonderful girlfriend, Gabby, who edits these videos and makes the thumbnails, is probably very upset hearing me even talk about clutter, as she's seen my apartment, but it is nonetheless a very good bit of advice for us ENFPs and for ENTPs.
I will confirm that Dan does not remove clutter. I went
the other way of just
I just noticed your pants on the floor just now.
Instead of dealing with clutter, I just got a really big apartment, so there's always room
there's room for more clutter, that's for sure. So when I'm getting into work mode, I clean my desk. If there's a whole bunch of papers and stuff, you know, and sometimes it does gather up over a week or two, and I realize, man, there's a lot of stuff going on here. I clean it up. There was no junk, there's no dirty cups or dishes or anything like that. And one thing that I noticed is I used to be lazy about cleaning my own apartment. And I noticed that whenever I had guests coming over and all of a sudden, you know, like 5 minutes away, I'm like, my place is dirty. And then like I clean the whole place in like 4 minutes, right? So I realized that it really doesn't take a long time to actually just clean. I mean, if you're working from home, clean your place, clean your own office. If you're going to an office or wherever you're working, just make sure it's tidy. It's going to also help you kind of remove clutter from your mind at the same time. There's some magic to just cleaning your desk.
And maybe this hints at the 5th point. We won't reveal the 5th point yet, but I found things like, let's say the night before, cleaning the frying pan, so that I know when I wake up and I want to make a healthy breakfast, there's nothing there where I'm like, oh no, I have to clean the frying pan, where stuff. Having things set up for success basically to make it as easy as possible. So if you are, like for me now, I have this home studio, as you guys know, because the background's always the same. There's other places in my apartment I can film, but when I film in different places every day, there's this friction of getting that set up, and that would slow me down. These little bits actually make a big difference.
Number 4 is to remove distractions. Now, I know that you do this very well because I've noticed how antsy you are when I interrupt you and distract you with something. But I'll give you a few examples here. One is that my phone does, when I flip it on silent, I have an iPhone, when I flip the little thing on the side on silent, it doesn't make any sound. It doesn't vibrate, it doesn't do anything. So when I'm in work mode, I flip it on silent, it's done. I have very limited notifications on my phone. Even when somebody text messages me, it does not show up on my lock screen. I have to actually unlock my phone to see it. There's no notifications on my computer at all. Like if I'm working, nothing is. If you have any notifications turned on your computer, turn them off. Be very selective about what notifications you allow on your phone. I know you're more hardcore about this than I am.
I mean, yeah, I go airplane mode because that's even more. I fully agree. I'll do a video on this at some point in the future on how to turn all these off.
No.
To turn on.
When I got here, he sent me house rules, and part of the house rules was that there would be no dinging sounds or something. What did you say?
I hate it. Yeah, because when people, there's a co-working space. This happens to me in a few co-working spaces, and some asshole has his phone on, and it vibrates every 10 minutes with a message.
Yeah.
Well, everyone is trained, including myself, that vibrate could be your phone. So then it distracts everyone.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, you're gonna be staying with me for a few weeks. If your phone is ringing every 6 minutes, I'm gonna go crazy. So like this is
some people have an anxiety of like not knowing, like their fear of missing out or whatever. I used to get this anxiety of wanting to check my email every day, and then one time I just tried to not check my email for a week, and like nothing, it was fine. Like nothing happened. I got through all the emails in that one day. It was cool. So just try it out. If you wanted to experiment it for a day, no notifications. I mean, you want to go crazy, try just having no phone for a day and seeing how that feels.
It's good to do that. I can't claim I've done that in the last little while, but I used to do that on like a Sunday, just leave my phone at home as a way to stop that kind of addicted feeling, right? Like I need my phone, where is it? Lots of benefits to that. I'll talk about that in maybe another video, about even things like a sense of direction that you lose if you rely on Google Maps and all that kind of stuff another time. What's the 5th tip?
So number 5, and this is probably the most important thing, is this is kind of deep, but it's to remove friction from your life. And what that means is that oftentimes that we carry this baggage around, and I recently had a realization that I was carrying all this baggage around me that I really wasn't serving me at all. So it could be like you got into a fight with your brother, your sister, your mom, or your dad, or your best friend. You know, I remember one time where like I was like making some yo mama jokes to one of my best friends, and we were like not talking for weeks. And I realized I was like, I wanted to call him, and I was like, oh, he's mad at me because of the yo mama jokes. And then, you know, I realized I was carrying this baggage around. I was always thinking about this. And so I just called him one day and I just said, hey, I wanted to say, I'm sorry for making yo mama jokes. And he was like, oh, it's fine, man. Like, you know, and it was like, he was cool out there, right? Another time, you know, I broke up with an ex-girlfriend. We didn't have closure. We were kind of like, it was a weird breakup, and it bothered me for months, actually. It was quite ridiculous and pathetic. And, you know, I finally reached out to her. I sent her an email and I said, hey, I just wanted you to know I'm not mad at you anymore, or whatever. I can't remember what I said, something really bad, and I was probably a loser. And we just like cleared the air, and it lifted so much weight off of my shoulder. So what I've learned is that to just forgive whoever you're holding a grudge against. If you have resentment or you want revenge or whatever it is, just forgive people. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to ask people to apologize to you. You don't even have to tell anybody. You're doing it for yourself. It's an inner thing. You just forgive. You don't have to forget. You don't gotta do, just forgive and let it go. You either deal with it or you let it go. And I cannot say how powerful it is to remove all the friction in your life, but you could really do an 80-20 on this. Write down everywhere you have friction in your life right now. Look at the 20% of the things that are causing 80% of the friction and deal with them or let them go. And you'll see how much freer that makes you to have your mind focus on the more important things that actually serve you in your life.
That's very awesome. I realize I misinterpreted. So Matt had a couple notes and it said point number 5, remove friction.
I know what you thought.
And I was thinking in another way, which is basically to make things easy to do for yourself, right? Wash the frying pan in advance, set up filming and all that. I really like that example though. I like to think at this point in my life I have very little friction, and that served with a lot of my productivity, right? Where you're not always thinking, because it's very easy with the ENFP brain to start worrying about things, you know, that relationship that went sour or this thing or what if that. And it eats up so much mental energy. It's disastrous.
I'll tell you guys, I just went through a period of my life for a long time where I had a lot of friction building up. And although I learned this lesson 10 years ago, somehow I forgot. And then as soon as I realized it and I cleared the air, it was like I was back to myself again. I was like feeling so happy again. And so I cannot recommend it enough. I know this is a hard one to do. You know, forgiveness is hard to do, but once you just start forgiving everybody, and I mean everybody, it'll make you feel so much better. You won't have resentment anymore. You won't want revenge. You won't have any anger. You're gonna feel great and you're gonna get so much done.
So I hope you enjoyed those 5 tips from my ENTP friend Matt here for us ENFPs and ENTPs. If you are not yet a subscriber to the channel, what are you doing? I publish new videos every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 6 a.m. Eastern, so hit subscribe and the bell, and I will catch you in the next video soon. Thanks for watching.
Take care.